It's a nice rainy day here in Houses Built Tiny. So maybe we should sit down and discuss something related to tiny houses. Well, it's pouring outside. And this tiny house has a tin roof, but not so bad. It's pretty quiet in here. Why don't we take a few minutes and talk about some tiny house concepts. So you notice this behind me here looks like sheetrock, but if you'll look at our how to plaster an OSB wall video, you'll notice it's not sheetrock. It is a super water resistant, sturdy, flexible plaster coat, and we believe in that. We love it. It goes right over our wall finishes, and it's 1,000 pounds lighter. So we love that. 1,000 pounds lighter in a house means a lot. This house right here, with fully equipped, weighs right at about 10,500 pounds. We like to finish our roof and walls out with the cedar finish that you've seen. Let's take a look up. We love to do that finish on our ceilings, and we love to do it on the walls. It's one of our favorite ways to finish it out. It's quick, it's easy, and it just looks great. Super durable, and again, lightweight. That repurposed cedar fence is, or redwood fence, it's just super light, and it's free. Not counting the labor it takes to pull those pallets apart. Go get them, pull them apart, and mill them down. But it really does make a nice ceiling or wall. On our floors, we try to use either hardwood if it's recycled. It just bothers our conscience to go buy new hardwood flooring. We don't like anything coming from old growth trees. But there is a lot of repurposed wood out there. If we can't find that, then we will use engineered flooring. And we buy the best that money can buy. Spend $6 a square foot, and you will get a waterproof engineered floor that is never going to give you problems, no matter what happens to it. Here's our floor. When it comes to our electrical, we love to build our electrical in chases, either in a valance up at the ceiling height or down on the floor in the baseboards. Now here's the reason for that, is I'm super sensitive to electromagnetic fields, and I just don't like the idea of living inside of a toaster box. I never have. So we don't have any electricity runs in our walls, floors, or ceilings. How do you do that? Well, follow the playlist in our tiny house hacks, and you'll see how we do that. And it's a really kind of cool way of doing it. And you can add some pretty cool things too, like, well, let me just show you. Really cool night lights. We like that. So they're not going to shine in your face. They don't illuminate the whole room. And you can add nice little cool accents like that. Okay, here's another concept. When it comes to a bed in a loft, I mean, really, lofts are necessary for storage and extra rooms, but we have never liked them as, and I say this because I've lived tiny so long, so many decades, that they're just uncomfortable. They're too hot in the winter, they're too hot in the summer. Unless you live in Alaska or Canada, I think it's difficult to get that, to keep that loft cool enough for you. And I have lived in the north in a loft as well, and they can be really, really cozy on a really, really cold night, but the rest of the time very difficult. Ooh, it's really coming down out there. Now this tiny house has a tin roof, but you don't hear that rain pounding on it because our ceiling is so well insulated with those SIPs. And then of course we have the radiant barrier and a 10-inch gap, air gap, that is between the radiant barrier at the top of the roof and the bottom of the metal. It's nice. That's another one of the things is we won't build unless it's with SIPs. We've just done way too much research over 30 years, and until they come up with a better design. I've done steel structures, tire structures, rammed earth structures, block, brick, foam block, concrete rebar filled foam block, log cabins, you name it. And until they come up with something better than SIPs, that's what I'm doing. And if you want to know more about SIPs, again, you'll find it here on this playlist. When it comes to windows, I've been a paid professional double, triple pane thermal window installer. I've taught classes, and I build these windows and use double strength, single pane glass. And I am so sold on the highest quality film there is out there, Interlogic. And look at some of our inspirational videos or window videos and you'll see what I'm talking about on the Interlogic film. And I can take this double strength single pane glass and turn it into an equal or greater than radiant R value than double pane argon filled glass. And not only that is, if you're smart enough to know what film does, take a look at some of those other videos and you'll see the higher security level you'll have with the film. I have never enjoyed crawling over someone, even my dear sweet wife, to get in and out of bed, or having to scoot to the end of the bed and try to navigate my way down some thin staircase or ladder, which I've done many, many times, and it's just always uncomfortable. A bed should be able to be entered and exited at least on both sides, and hopefully on the foot of the bed too, if you can help it. It's just a nice place to sit at the foot of the bed sometimes. But you should at least be able to exit and enter both sides of the bed. To me, that's super important, without having to crawl around on your knees to do it. So keep watching. You saw our design of our vertical bed. You're going to notice some other designs as well that'll be coming out. How to, I love Murphy beds, but again, it's got to be as little a work as possible with maximizing your floor space. We think that the living room should be room for 4 to 6. It just should be room for 4 to 6 because you're going to want to have people over, and you need that space. So a small 2-cushion couch in the corner that folds up from a bench isn't going to do it for us. I know it works for a lot of people, but after mostly 30 years of being tiny, it doesn't work for us. And I'm not a little fella. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, and I need a little bit of room to spread out. Conditioning units. Well, we've got a couple of videos, and everybody seems to be looking at the first video we did on our prototype. And then we built another one. Look up the second video. The house was built tiny, AC hack. And we haven't turned it off for, I don't know, 4 months. And we made it through the summer, and now we've made it into the rainy season. And here's the reason I mention AC units, is you see them so often to where the AC unit's just sitting on the side of the house, or on the end of the house, on the Dutch mini splits, or And circulation and placement is everything. The other thing is maintenance and cleaning. And I'm not even talking about price yet, but window units or central units or Dutch mini splits all need to be maintained, and you have to clean that A-frame. How are you going to clean that A-frame or that coil pack without it being, without it making a mess? The AC units that you see that are window units that are installed somewhere, they cause so much rot in the walls. They cause so much moisture around and rot in the walls that they are super problematic. I've repaired homes for 30 years fixing the problems that window units cause. And they're loud and they vibrate and they blow on you and they're obnoxious. But they're super efficient and they're super cheap and they're super easy. So there's something to be said about them. And then Dutch mini splits, the problem there is they're just so expensive, and not to put in, but to maintenance. Yes, to put in, but yes to maintenance. And you really need a professional to maintain them, or really become professional with some good equipment yourself. And imagine, do the research, and you'll find how difficult, and some of those links are here in our, I'm not exactly sure what playlists are in. There is a coil inside, a condenser inside that has to be cleaned quarterly, or it loses up to 75% of its efficiency in 3 to 4 months. And why are you running it if it's only running at 25%? Why? And to clean it, you have to build a plastic boot all the way around it so that you can power wash it inside, over your painted walls, over your kitchen appliances, over your finished floor and your carpets and your clothes. You can't pull it off the wall, take it outside and hose it down. So a window unit, you can take it outside and hose it down. So we took the, I guess I'm rambling on about these AC units, but you're going to want to check out ours. We've got a lot of use going on the first prototype, which has been running for a year, and it's magnificent. But check out the one that's finished and professionally finished, and I think you'll really, really appreciate it. And you're going to be really surprised to see how, for $350, you can build your own central AC if you do it yourself. And it'll circumvent all those problems we just talked about. Okay, another thing is we don't run any plumbing in our wall, ceilings, or floors. How? How do you do that? No plumbing, no electric in your wall, ceilings, or floors. Well, we have 1 or 2 penetrations. Occasionally another 1 or 2 penetrations where they come through our mechanical garage, and we use one wall on the back of each of the tiny houses as a mechanical garage. And we just believe in coming through in that one point of interest to bring in either plumbing or electric for that. And there's just no reason to have it anywhere else. So it's a matter of placement. And it saves a ton on insulating, and if we do have to move it down the wall somewhere, we'll do it behind the rain. We'll place it behind the rain screen, and you'll see that in some of our videos too. And we'll show you how to insulate that. I love continuous hot water, so we're always using propane for our water heaters. I know some people want to go electric, but propane is just so easy and efficient, and the amount of electricity that you need to run a water heater, and on-demand water heater, is just crazy high. So we try to keep it to a minimum and make these houses to where they can be easily converted 100% solar if necessary. So showers, we love our showers to be big and open, without curbs if possible. You can put the tub in there. You don't have to put the tub in the living room, but I think that's really cool. I think it's romantic. And it serves a multi-function. If you don't bathe every day, which most people don't get in a tub every day, fill it full of your overflow of comforters and pillows, and put a table over the top of it, and use it as storage. Just empty out the storage when you're going to go take a really nice hot bubble bath. So I think it's romantic. In our design concept, when we're putting together ideas for tiny house, we consider where the tiny house is most likely to end up. It's hard to make an all seasons house. It really is. That's why we build custom homes. And yes, they can be taken with you and modified to your need. But I think we hit about 80% of, you could take our tiny houses in 80% of the climates of the North American continent. But if we have some idea just which latitude it's going to be on, then we'll look all the way around the globe at that latitude, and on both the northern and the southern hemisphere, and we will research what the world over the last 2,000 years has done. And you're going to find that these different cultures have come up with some really clever ideas that we've made way overly complicated here in the States. So we try to incorporate those clever ideas into our tiny houses. And I think you're going to like it. So we'll keep putting them in the hacks, and we'll introduce them every time we put them in one of our tiny houses. So we've got 4 more coming up here real soon. You're going to see some pretty cool things from it. So I think that's about all for now. Just wanted to kind of give you an idea of some of the things you can expect from the concepts of our tiny houses and why we build what we build. So keep in touch. Follow us at Houses Built Tiny. And we're going to share a little bit more in another playlist about our experiences over the last 30 years of being mostly tiny, and some of the adventures we've had because of it, and some of the things we've learned. Keep in touch.